Like, look at Pokimane. Has anyone learned or gained any value from watching her? No. Has anyone learned anything or gained value from watching No. Right? Like, men have to be significantly more entertaining, charming, charismatic, funny, creative to get half the attention. So there's a reason why most comedians, good ones, are men. Right?
All right, guys, got him back. Myron Gaines pissed off a lot of people the first time, man.
I'm sure I did.
You pissed off so many, you're actually banned on Instagram now.
Part of the black women?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They're always mad.
I feel like Instagram's the hardest to get banned on.
Nah, man, it's easy. I've had like 10 plus accounts. I got banned for like dangerous organizations. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how am I a dangerous organization? Because I teach people how to not be or make money or get girls, but you know, whatever.
I'm banned on TikTok right now. RIP.
Dude, fuck TikTok.
Yeah. It's been a week.
I've had like, maybe 20, 30 TikTok accounts banned. I've had like 10 plus Instagram accounts banned. My new one recently got banned. I'm working on trying to get it back, but who fucking knows now?
Yeah.
So yeah, bro, it's fucking lame, man.
Yeah, Tates are banned everywhere too. They just moved to the States, right?
Yep. They just got in a couple of days ago. I've known for a few weeks that they were gonna leave. Obviously I didn't want to say anything before, but I'm glad that they're here and they're safe because, dude, everybody knows that case is bullshit out of Romania, man. Because for all the people that like, oh, no, they're pedos and child traffickers, blah, blah. That case has brought so much national attention to Romania that no one even knew where Romania was on the map before that case. So, excuse me, they're 100% incentivized to not just prosecute the case, but keep them in jail. The fact that they got out of jail, were able to leave, shows that the case isn't strong. And then on top of that, even the judges told the prosecutors, hey, there's not enough evidence. We're not going to trial on this. So, the Tates have so many haters that are just preying on their downfall. And a lot of people have been able to make a name on like updates on their case, talking about how they're guilty, trying to interview the victims, which are all fucking, stupid thoughts that are angry that they didn't get a certain cut of the pie. That's what I think it's just obvious that there's no wrongdoing here.
Yeah. You think Florida's going to accept them? I'm seeing mixed articles about it.
Yeah, Ron DeSantis is a retard. So he came in and said, oh, they're not welcome in Florida, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is, number one, they're American citizens. You can't deny an American citizen entry into the United States. That's illegal. And I know this because I used to work in immigration. And the second thing is, what was it the first thing? Oh, the second thing was he's doing that because Grinnell, who is a part of the Trump administration, I don't know if he's in his cabinet or not, but Grinnell basically had advocated for the Tates against the Romanian government. And Ron DeSantis isn't happy with Trump right now because Trump isn't advocating for him. So it was a way for him to kind of subtly attack the Trump administration. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It was a roundabout way of kind of like saying like, oh, these people are deplorable, blah, blah, blah. Because a week prior, the news broke out, or it was 2 weeks ago, that Grinnell basically had advocated for the Tates to be released, to be able to travel.
We'll see if the Trump administration will take him in then.
Yeah.
Right.
So, you know what I think they're going to probably do? They're probably going to, they might not do it publicly, but I know that, like Barron Trump and stuff like that, I know that they're fans of the Tates. I mean, how could you not be, bro? Like, whether people want to hate or not, the Tate brothers were absolutely instrumental in getting young men to vote for Trump because more young men are becoming more conservative. I always give credit. I say the Tate brothers, Nick Fuentes, and Sneeko are huge in getting guys, young guys, below 18, teenagers, etc., guys below 20, to swing more right wing.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
Yeah.
And they're all banned.
Because when Andrew was blowing up in like 2022, a lot of those guys were 15, 16. Well, guess what? Yep. 2024, now they're 18. They could vote. A lot of them went out and voted, and they voted for Trump. I think this was like the record amount of times that they got a young vote for a Republican. It normally doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
That's actually a big reason why Trump was lenient on TikTok when it got banned, and he brought it back within 24 hours. TikTok was instrumental in his ability to win the election.
How do you think the Trump-Zelensky stuff's going to play out? Obviously, there was that heated exchange yesterday.
Zelensky. Oh, yeah. So I want to say this. I'm fucking vindicated because I was saying this for years that Ukraine was losing the war. We were spending billions upon billions of dollars for no reason, and it's stupid. And everyone was calling me a Putin, puppet, or a Russian stooge, or a Russian asset. And I'm like, now what, motherfuckers? The president of the United States and the vice president agree with me. And I've been saying this for years. The reason why the mainstream media never wanted to report on this is because they wanted to keep rationalizing and justifying paying Ukraine all this money for the war because they want a proxy war. They want to test our weapons out.
All right, shout out to today's sponsor, Specialized Recruiting Group.
Navigating the professional job search is hard. You know the perfect job is out there, you're just not sure how to find it. The good news is you don't have to go at it alone. You need Specialized Recruiting Group. Connect at srgpros.com, srgpros.com. They're here to guide you and help you find a role that fits, all without costing a dime. Meet Specialized Recruiting Group, offering a tailored approach to find your next role. Go to srgpros.com, srgpros.com, and get on the right course. Your local Specialized Recruiting Group team knows which businesses are hiring and can offer you a path to contract and full-time roles. If you don't see the role you're looking for on the website, Specialized Recruiting Group also recruits for confidential roles, so give an office near you a call to learn more. Take the next step in your career by starting at srgpros.com, srgpros.com.
Capabilities out, and they can go ahead and let the Ukrainian soldiers be the guinea pigs and the Russians. So my thing is, I think war isn't really the answer in 99% of situations. So the war was needless, man. And honestly, we could have avoided it. A lot of people don't know this. Kamala Harris was actually in Ukraine like a week or two before Russia invaded.
Wow.
Yeah. Fun fact.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I guess she gave it bad. The point is that well, we know how she got ahead. But all jokes aside, the Biden administration was doing everything in their power to keep the war going and to keep giving Ukraine billions. And a lot of people don't know this, but Biden was kind of like an unofficial Ukraine liaison when he was vice president under Obama. He was always in Ukraine during the Obama administration. So, and then obviously he had businesses there, Burisma, his son was involved with the government. So there was a lot of shady shit with the Biden crime family out there in Ukraine. That's why he supported them so hard. So Trump kind of giving Zelensky a smack of reality, like, hey, dude, this war doesn't benefit anybody. People are dying. We don't want to keep contributing to it. We need to make peace. It brought him back into reality. And then the fact that he dresses up in like fucking, regular clothing when you're meeting the president of the United States and you're asking for money. Like, bro, show some fucking respect. I know some people say, oh, he does that to stand in solidarity with his soldiers. That's why he wears the 511s and, the military type shit. But it's like, bro, if you want to stand in solidarity with them, go onto the fucking war field. Like, go out to the battlefield. If you're going to go ahead and you're going to try to be a diplomat and get money, and because remember, you're coming from a position of disadvantage.
Right. They
They have the advantage. You need their money. So you got to show some fucking respect, man.
It didn't seem like he wanted to end the war.
He doesn't.
It was a strange meeting.
Yeah, he wants to keep going. And I've been talking about this for years. And rest in peace to Gonzalo Lira, Coach Red Pill. He talked about this. He was actually in Ukraine when the war first kicked off, and he was like, yeah, the Russians are winning this thing. And what happened to him? The Ukrainian secret police, I think it's SBU or SVU, they fucking kidnapped him.
Damn.
And put him in jail. They tortured him, whooped his ass. He was able to get out after a lot of pressure, diplomatic pressure, because he's a U.S. citizen. He tried to flee the country. They caught him at the border. They killed him.
Holy crap.
He's dead. American journalist. He's a YouTuber. You can search him up. Gonzalo Lira, rest in peace to him, also known as Coach Red Pill. And he was one of the first people on the ground reporting on this stuff. Him, Jackson Hinkle, they were ahead of the curve. And now Americans are just kind of starting to figure out that we lost. And I remember mainstream media, because I remember like yesterday, they finally came out and said that Russia was winning the conflict mid last year. Mid last year is like when mainstream media finally started to get it like, yeah, we might not be winning this thing.
Wow. So they were winning the whole time and they didn't announce it till mid last year?
Yeah. And for obvious reasons, right? Like Biden wanted to keep funneling money over there. And, if he told the American people, yeah, we were losing, by the way, they'll be like, why the fuck are my tax dollars going over there then? So I think it was good to see Trump put him in his place. Him being dressed like an idiot is one thing, but, the entitlement is ridiculous, but he's been able to behave that way for so long because Biden is a doormat and Biden has his own interests in Ukraine.
Yeah. And meanwhile, more foreign aid just announced to Israel, right? Yesterday. So crazy. This foreign aid stuff just blows my mind.
I wish Donald Trump did what he did to Zelensky to Benjamin Netanyahu. Because I'll tell you this, as much as the Ukraine war is a complete waste of money and 1 million, 2 million people have died, far more millions have died because of Israel, whether it's what's going on in Gaza, what they do in the West Bank, or all the wars that we fought throughout the Middle East over the past 20 to 30 years. It's all for Israel. So Israel's caused us way more reputational damage and lost tax dollars and lost lives than any other country. But we support them unequivocally because people are stupid and they don't realize that these guys have way too much influence and power within our government. I find it absolutely ludicrous that an organization like AIPAC is able to pay our politicians significant amounts of money and be able to dictate how we run our country. Because whether people want to accept it or not, Israel runs our foreign policy. Every war that we've had has been basically done to benefit Israel. Iraq, that didn't benefit us. 1 million people dead. Now Israel gets their oil from Iraq because we destabilized Saddam Hussein. The Kurds hated Saddam Hussein. Now they're able to give the Israelis oil at a good price. Wow. Roughly around 80% of the oil comes from there. So Israel's caused way more damage to the United States than Ukraine. If you're going to say I'm against foreign aid for Ukraine, then you also need to be against foreign aid for Israel because what Israel's doing is way worse.
Yeah. Is there any foreign aid that you agree with?
None.
None at all?
I don't think we should be giving any of these countries money. I think so, because here's the thing, right? There's never going to be peace in Israel until they give the Palestinians a home state. There needs to be a two-state solution, right? Because they always say, oh, we just want peace, we want peace. Well, you need to give the Palestinians sovereignty. You guys took the land. Obviously, they're going to be angry. Violent occupation leads to violent resistance. So we need a two-state solution. People have tried to do this and they got killed. Yitzhak Rabin famously signed the Oslo Accords with Yasser Arafat back in the early 90s with Clinton. And they killed his ass.
Damn.
And when they assassinated Yitzhak Rabin, it was a Likud member that killed him and assassinated him. And to this day, Yitzhak Rabin's wife, I think she did a memoir, wrote a book, and she still thinks that Netanyahu killed him because Netanyahu was a huge critic of Yitzhak Rabin. He doesn't want a two-state solution, and he's been caught multiple times admitting this. I remember there's a famous video of him in the kibbutz, and he's speaking in Hebrew, and someone secretly recorded him, and he said, "Yeah, I did everything in my power to damage the Oslo Accords. There's never going to be a two-state solution. Blah blah." You can look it up; it's on YouTube. So, but the reality is, what he's doing by doing that is he's basically ensuring that there's always going to be war, right? He's empowered Hamas plenty of times, but I think he does that as controlled opposition so that he can justify the use of force and justify his ability to rule. So when it comes to the two-state solution, right, if we really want to make peace, this is my idea how I would do it. If I was president, aka the Führer, right, what I would do is I would say, okay, look, both of you, and I would have like a 5-year plan. We're going to give you guys both foreign aid for a few years. After this, it's done. And what this foreign aid is going to do is it's going to ensure that the Palestinians have a state, the Israelis have a state. But we're not going to fund one side so that they can continue to massacre the other side, because that's what's going on. The reason why Israel doesn't feel a need to make peace is because they don't need to. They have the leverage from a military standpoint, and they have the leverage with U.S. backing. So why are they? So we need to force them to make peace. And we need to have strict regulations if they decide to break the peace agreement, whether it's us sanctioning them, us not giving them any aid, etc. The other thing I would do also is I would make both of them have some type of resource that the other needs. Maybe one party has all the power grids. The other party has all the water. So they need to go ahead and work together and ensure trade to be able to exist. And I think doing something like that with harsh penalties, I think that could potentially work. Now, obviously, that's a very oversimplified strategy. But the point is that give the Palestinians their own state. Obviously, the Israelis have their own state. And then put something in there where we're overseeing it, where if either party was to get into a conflict, they would be significantly punished and would hurt both of them significantly. That way, they're disincentivized to go to war with each other and kill each other.
That's smart. Doesn't seem like that one's ending anytime soon, too.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's been going on since even before 1948, before the creation of Israel. We're talking damn near 100 years.
Holy crap.
So that's the only way I see it, man. Because the other thing, too, right? And this benefits both parties because the Palestinians get a state, the Israelis get a state. Finally, the Arab world can accept the Israelis. The Arab world, refuses to acknowledge Israel or recognize them. And that's actually what led to October 7th. They had a meeting with the Saudis. Saudi Arabians are very influential in the region. And what ended up happening was they didn't answer the Palestinian question. So they were going to go to the table, recognize Israel, and they know that if Israel gets recognized by Saudi Arabia, their dream of having a sovereign state is pretty much gone. So they did the invasion, they did the October 7th, and then that basically pushed back the peace talks with Saudi Arabia and recognizing it. So because it's wildly unpopular to support Israel. Like obviously the governments kind of do it in a underhanded, but the people of the Arab world hate Israel because of what they're doing to the Palestinians. So if they were to create this two-state solution, it would allow the Arab world to finally start to kind of mend that bridge and begin the slow process of accepting Israel.
Yeah. Do you see the time?
I don't want either party to die. You know,
Right.
as critical as I am of the Israeli government, you know, I don't want any innocent Israelis to die, but their government is setting them up poorly by not giving them their own state. They're going to continue to get resistance and terrorist attacks until they give them their own state, man, and they got to do it. And, you know, it's a travesty when either party dies.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you see the tides turning against Israel?
Yes, a lot of people are waking up, dude. You know, I'll say, and I'll kind of go through this real quick. After October 7th, everyone was backing Israel, right? We had this information. 2,000 Israelis got killed. Hamas went in there and killed a bunch of babies. Like, they got put in ovens. Like, the mass rape. Like, everyone was like, yeah, like, you know, we're going to go support Israel. This is bullshit. Then information starts coming out. We find out that it was 1,200 that died. Then we find out that about 400 of them were IDF. Then we find out that the Hannibal Directive was activated that day, which the Hannibal Directive, for those that don't know, is a directive that Israel implements where they kill their own citizens and or soldiers to avoid them being kidnapped by Palestinian militias. Why? Because they don't want to go ahead and do a prisoner exchange like they're currently doing now with the ceasefire, where there's an asymmetric trade between Israelis and Palestinians. For one Israeli, they got to give up like 100 Palestinians. So this is a diplomatic and, you know, geopolitical nightmare for the Israeli government, and they don't want to deal with it. So the Hannibal Directive became a thing that it would kind of save them headaches later on when it comes to hostage negotiations. And roughly, 2 to 3 weeks ago, they just finally admitted this. Yoav Gallant, the defense minister, basically the equivalent of our Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, he admitted that the Hannibal Directive was activated on that day.
Wow.
So let's do the math. It went from 2,000 to 1,200. Roughly 400 of those people were IDF, so that's enemy combatants. Fair game, right? Unfortunately. Then we're down to 800. Then we find out that the Hannibal Directive was activated. Well, you look, there's Apache helicopter footage, and then obviously footage of the kibbutzes getting blown up by tanks. That's all IDF. And then when you look at the music festival, all those burned up cars, Hamas doesn't have that capability. They got still like piece of shit World War II weapons. So, hundreds of Israelis were killed by the IDF on that day. Now, does that mean that Hamas didn't kill people? They absolutely did, and that's horrible. But we need to be realistic here and understand what were the facts of what actually transpired on that day. And they ended up kidnapping another 200 citizens, roughly 200. So, but Israel, right, sensationalized everything with the beheaded babies and the babies in ovens, which is not true at all, right? They sensationalized everything because they needed something to start the war and to be able to not just start the war, but to go hard at Gaza and level it. So they needed peak outrage, peak anger, and peak emotional stimuli to be able to go ahead and, you know, wage the war that they've done now for the past year plus, where they've been indiscriminately bombing and destroying all the buildings in Gaza. And, you know, for anybody that might say, oh, well, Myron, you know, Israel has the right to defend itself. Okay, cool, fair enough. Well, tell me this then. If Israel has a right to defend itself and Hamas is underground as they claim and they're hiding behind their citizens, why are you bombing all the buildings above ground? That doesn't make sense. They're in tunnels, right? Why are you bombing all these fucking buildings above ground? And then also on top of that, Israel has one of the best militaries in the world because they use a lot of our technology. They have missiles capable of taking out an entire floor of a building while keeping the building intact.
Wow.
They did an attack on Hezbollah up in Lebanon. And what they did was they put bombs in pagers, beepers, walkie-talkies, and other type of equipment. And they blew them up all simultaneously. But the crazy part is they had those bombs in those devices for 10 years.
Jeez.
Imagine that. You intercept the shipment of walkie-talkies and phones and all this other stuff that you know is going to go to your enemy. You put bombs in them in like fucking 2015. And then you let them go to the targets in Lebanon. They're using them for years thinking like, yeah, we're good. Because they were using this, you know, more older technology because they didn't want to be intercepted by Mossad and Unit 8200 because Israel has very good intelligence capabilities of intercepting electronic devices. So they're using this older equipment thinking that they're safe. But unbeknown to them, there's bombs in them. So in September of last year, they detonated like hundreds of them. And they killed a bunch of Hezbollah fighters.
Holy crap.
Then you look at Tehran, Iran, who is their chief op, a guy named Ismail Haniyeh, who's like the chief negotiator for Hamas. They killed him in Iran. How did they do it? They had a bomb that they put in his like he stays at this house. They put a bomb there and it killed him and his bodyguard. And the Mossad had put that there months before.
Damn.
So we're talking about a very sophisticated, intelligent, and powerful military and intelligence operation that they have between Shin Bet, Unit 8200, Mossad, who is like their CIA equivalent. They're very good. So you're telling me that you guys couldn't just run operations and go ahead and kill the leaders of Hamas like you've done for years anyway? You got to fucking bomb all of Gaza and knock the buildings down and kill tens of thousands of kids? Like, I find this interesting too because Donald Trump kind of let this slip at his press conference. So he's there at the press conference with Benjamin Netanyahu, which, by the way, was the first person to visit the White House in his term, of course. And we know by conservative estimates there were roughly 2.3 million people that lived in Gaza. And then Trump says, hey, we got like 1.7, 1.6, or 1.8 million people that are displaced, and we want to move them to Jordan or Egypt, right? He was talking about getting them out of Gaza and moving them to Jordan and Egypt. Now, while everyone was being outraged about moving them, I looked at the numbers. 1.6, 1.7? Let's even go all the way to 1.8, right? Let's use the most conservative numbers. Let's say 1.8 that are still alive. Well, we know at the lowest, 2 million. We're talking about 200,000 people that are missing. 200,000, right? So, and here's the thing. There's still people under rubble. There's a lot of people missing, right? So no one really knows how many are dead yet. Well over 20,000 kids.
Wow.
Well over 20,000. So we're talking about casualties in the hundreds of thousands now at this point, right? So when Trump let that slip, I was like, oh shit, right? Like
that's a lot.
That's a lot of people that are dead. And, you know, Israel's been like kind of trying to hide this for a bit, right? They've been bragging, we killed 20,000 Hamas fighters or whatever. Then you look at the ceasefire, when they're bringing the hostages out, I see a lot of with green bandanas and masks. Like, did you guys kill anybody? Like, what the fuck is going on here? And then on top of that, they pretty much, Israeli intelligence has figured out that Hamas membership is stronger now than ever before. More people have joined. Well, for every one person you kill, guess what? You've probably radicalized all of his male family members, right? So people that might have not liked Hamas or not agreed with their political ideology or how they go about things, well, you just killed his brother. What's he going to do? He's going to pick up a fucking AK-47 and wear the green bandana and run around now, right? So, you know, and this is what I mean when I say if you can't kill an ideology. You can't kill they can kill as many of these guys as they want. They're going to continue to resist. They're never going to stop. And the Arab world is never going to accept them. So until Israel understands that Palestinian sovereignty is required for their peace, there's never going to be peace in that area.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. When I was younger, I really believed in war. I was pro-war. I thought we were doing a good thing. And as I gotten older, it's just there's a bigger game being played with all these. It's
bad, dude. It funds the military-industrial complex. You know, obviously, we have these neocons, because the last war we had, right, with Iraq, if you look at all the architects of the Iraqi war, they're all neocons.
Wow.
Bill Kristol, Pearl, Wolfowitz, Feith, like all these guys are neocons, a majority of them. So, and then you look at the Clean Break Memo in 1996. In that paper, it was a paper written by, I think, Wormser, or he was on the board of it. It was written by Pearl, led the think tank, I think, and then Wormser was. So if you look at the Clean Break Memo, which was written in 1996, it was basically a strategy written by Douglas Pearl and a couple of other neocons, Feith, etc., where they wrote this for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on how to essentially secure Israel's interest from a security perspective. And in it, the number one thing that they wanted was to get rid of Saddam Hussein. Well, we need a Pearl Harbor-like event for that to happen. What was it? 9/11. 9/11 happens. Now we have all the justification we need, right? And then they came up with the anthrax story, which was a lie, saying that Israeli intelligence officials met with Mohammed Atta somewhere in Asia and transferred anthrax, and that's how they got the anthrax attacks. And then when you look, it says death to America. Come on, dude. False flag. So, and they do this all the time. The Mossad's old motto was, by deception we create war. That's literally their old motto. They don't do, for obvious reasons, they changed it, because that's too obvious. So now it's like, now they've switched it up. But the point I'm trying to make here is that was a strategy from the beginning, and the Arab world hasn't forgot about that. So again, I'm an America First guy. I'm an American patriot, and I don't want to be fighting wars for a foreign country. I don't want American soldiers dying in foreign lands in the Middle East for a war that doesn't benefit them, that we don't need to be involved in. All of these Middle Eastern wars have been for Israel, all of them. And it's fucking ridiculous. But the reason why is because they have a strong lobby, they have incredible influence, and they run almost every main juncture point in American society.
Yeah, a lot of these veterans are waking up, actually, I think.
Yeah. Well, the USS Liberty did that. Shout out to Candace Owens. She had a guy named Phil Turney on. I had him on my show as well, but obviously her show is huge. And he went ahead and talked about the USS Liberty. And the USS Liberty, for those that are unaware, it's a story that's been suppressed forever. Lyndon B. Johnson tried to bury it. But a bunch of sailors were on a spy ship, an intelligence ship, and they were attacked by Israel. They bombed the hell out of them. 30 plus soldiers were killed. Phil Turney was one of the survivors. He sat there and watched as they were bombing and killing his shipmates. And, to this day, they don't like to acknowledge it. They say, oh, it was a mistake, friendly fire. They didn't know. They thought it was the Egyptians. It's all bullshit, man. What I think is they were bombing that ship. They wanted them all dead, and then they would blame it on Egypt.
Yeah.
That's what it was. So, because they were out there in the water collecting information and listening to phone calls and shit like that. That's what the ship was out there doing. But yeah, they bombed the hell out of them, dude. And a bunch of them died. And Lyndon B. Johnson, instead of sticking up for his soldiers, what did he do? He made them all sign gag orders, and they couldn't talk about it. And if they did, they would lose their careers.
Wow. So
Lyndon B. Johnson.
Everyone on that ship signed that?
Pretty much, yeah. The survivors.
Holy crap.
And it's like only recently that now they've been talking about what happened on that day. And I asked Phil Turney when I had him on, hey, did Israel know you guys were Americans? Yeah, they knew.
Damn.
I was like, wow.
That is nuts.
And this is supposed to be our greatest ally, right? And then, JFK, that's another hot topic here. What happened with the JFK situation. Israel was involved in killing JFK. There were three main entities that wanted him gone. The CIA, the Mafia, and the Zionist intelligence agencies. Well, let's go through why each agency wanted him gone. CIA wanted him gone because he said, I'm going to smash the CIA to pieces because he thought they were a rogue agency that were very problematic, that created problems, and they were out of control, which is right. Alan Dulles, the director of the CIA, was absolutely horrendous, and Kennedy fired him. The Mafia wanted him gone because Kennedy's father had promised that if the Mafia rigged the election in Illinois, a big swing state, and helped Kennedy win the state of Illinois, if he got into office, he would leave them alone, let them make their money in the darkness like they always have, right, with the Prohibition era, etc. But what ended up happening was JFK gets into office. He doesn't trust anybody. He appoints his brother as Attorney General, Robert F. Kennedy, RFK's dad.
Wow.
Our current health HHS secretary. So RFK, as Attorney General, what does he do? He's not corrupt. He goes after the Mafia, brings them in for questioning. They're testifying under oath. Now America is finding out about organized crime, La Cosa Nostra, the first time America found out, thanks to RFK in the 1960s. And they had obviously operated in secrecy for decades prior to that. So, because they kind of had an idea of them from the Prohibition area, but they were able to kind of get back and do what they were doing, make money in secrecy. So they were pissed because this was all televised when he would bring them in for these hearings, Jimmy Hoffa, all these guys. So that's why the Mafia wanted him gone. They felt like they got backstabbed after they helped him win the state of Illinois. And then finally, the Israelis, they want him gone for two main reasons. The first one was nuclear inspections. So Kennedy had information through the CIA that Israel is conducting nuclear tests in Dimona. And once Kennedy found this information out, he called Ben-Gurion in and said, hey, I understand that you guys are, getting nuclear capability. That's a problem. You need to de-arm, because Kennedy was very anti-nukes. He wanted everyone to de-arm. So Ben-Gurion was like, oh shit, they're on to us. He starts making like a fake control panel, like nuclear room. So when Kennedy sends the inspectors, they go check it out. And they're like, this is fake. What the fuck? And they go back and report to Kennedy. And he's like, these sons of bitches keep lying to me. So him and Ben-Gurion exchange a flurry of angry letters in 1963. And one of the letters that Kennedy sent to Ben-Gurion was, hey, if we don't get these nuclear inspections under control, our aid for Israel will be compromised. So in other words, no more foreign aid for you motherfuckers. Well, Israel's looking at that like, holy shit, that's problematic. We knew nuclear weapons. Why? Because they had just survived multiple wars against the Arab world and the Suez Canal crisis. I think it was in 1956. And they got embarrassed. They had to run with their tails between their legs from the Suez Canal crisis with Egypt. So from there, that obviously created the impetus like, we need the fucking nuclear bomb. Everyone around us wants to kill us. No one wants us here. Israel is a relatively new country. It was formed in 1948. They had been a country for maybe 10, 12 years? They needed the nuclear bomb. So they realized that like, holy shit, this guy's getting in the way of us having nuclear capability, which could absolutely affect our ability to defend ourselves, because they wanted to be the only nuclear power in the region. So that's the first reason why they want him gone. The second reason they want him gone is because he wanted them to register under something called the Foreign Agent Registration Act, FARA. Every lobby that represents a foreign government has to register on this. And one of the important things when it comes to FARA is you have to disclose where the money came from that you are using to pay politicians or do whatever you're going to do. Now, why is that problematic? The reason why it's problematic is because at that time, you had gangsters like Mayor Lansky and Bugsy Siegel, right, along with Murder Inc. and the Kosher Mafia, etc., or also known as Mafia, working alongside the Italian Mafia. And they were obviously running all these different, rackets, illegal rackets, making money. Also, Ben-Gurion was in bed with these guys, working with them. And he was also working with the Sunborns, which were, affluent businessmen. So you got a conglomerate of Israeli politicians, American gangsters, and American Jewish businessmen, all working together to send money to Israel, weapons to Israel, also paying off politicians. So that's why they couldn't have FARA, the American Zionist Council is what it was called. That's why they couldn't have them register under FARA. So you got the nuclear capabilities and then the ability to pay off politicians being pretty much impeded. They couldn't have that.
Wow.
That's why they wanted Kennedy gone.
Do you think when they release the JFK files, this will be in there, or do you think they'll hide some of this?
I think the Israeli connection is the main reason why they haven't released the files. So, interesting thing as well, and I was just talking about this with Jake. So the most famous movie that documents the JFK assassination is a movie called JFK, back from 1991. And if you watch the movie, good film, but some things in it are correct and a lot of things are off and, obviously obfuscate from what happened. And in the movie, they talk about the Mafia connection and the CIA connection, but they don't talk about the Zionist connection in the movie. And then once you look into the movie and see who directed it, who was it? Oliver Stone. Well, Oliver Stone, you find out his real last name is Oliver Silverstein, right? He's Then you find out that the person that funded the movie was a guy named Arnon Milchan, billionaire Zionist. Then it gets even better. He goes on Israeli television and admits he was a spy for Israel.
Whoa.
And not only was he a spy to preserve the Israeli nuclear program that JFK had been trying to stop.
Holy crap.
Yes, and you can look all this up. Incredible. An Israeli spy funded the most popular movie that's supposed to document the assassination of a U.S. president, the very president that tried to stop the nuclear arms that Israel now has. And he was a part of the intelligence program that was there to keep people from knowing about Israel's nuclear program. Because to this day, 2025, Israel will never publicly acknowledge officially that they have nuclear weapons. They won't do it. But we know that they have them. And I'll tell you how we know we have them. You go back in time, a couple of decades back, a guy named Mordechai Vanunu was a whistleblower. He got 50 pictures plus of Israel's nuclear tech room, right? He had the pictures. He wanted to sell them to a news outlet. So he gets with this Colombian dude, and the Colombian dude sells it to a guy named Robert Maxwell. Well, who's Robert Maxwell? That is Ghislaine Maxwell's father. Ghislaine Maxwell, the one that was with our boy Jeffrey Epstein.
Wow.
So basically, Ghislaine Maxwell, her man, Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell's father was Robert Maxwell, a known Mossad agent, right? Mossad asset. He finds out that Mordechai Vanunu, this whistleblower, tried to sell these pictures to the news. What does he do? Hey, Mossad, this fucking guy knows that we have nuclear weapons. You need to do something. So what do? They get this chick. Hey, Mordechai, you're kind of cute. Let's hang out. Come to Italy. Meet me. His dumb ass flies over there. Next thing he knows, he's getting fucking kidnapped.
Wow.
And they take his ass back to Israel, put him in a secret court. He does like 10 years in prison, solitary confinement. I think he converted to Christianity and he left. He fled. But yeah, dude, he basically blew open that Israel has nuclear weapons. But to this day, they will never acknowledge that they have them.
Wow.
And a big reason why they won't acknowledge that they have them is because you cannot get foreign aid from the United States if you have nuclear capabilities because it violates certain laws. So President Jimmy Carter, in March 10, 1978, President Jimmy Carter signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Act of 1978 into law. The bill, which he had sent to Congress on April 27, 1977, incorporated the Symington and Glenn amendments to the Foreign Assistance Act of 1961. So in other words, the amendment barred U.S. economic and military assistance to any country that imported or exported spent nuclear fuel reprocessing or uranium enrichment equipment, materials, or technology will fail to comply with International Atomic Energy Agency. So in other words, we can't give aid to them while running their nuclear program. It's illegal.
Crazy.
And that's why they have to keep it a secret to this day. Because what ended up happening was they stole a bunch of uranium from the United States. There was a factory in Apollo, Pennsylvania called NUMEC. The guy that ran it was a dude named Shapiro, also a Zionist. He allowed the illegal smuggling of this uranium through South America, destined for Israel.
Wow. So
And that's how they got it.
They might have a ton of nuclear weapons over there, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Jeez. That's
For sure.
crazy. Moving on to more lighthearted things.
Sure.
I went through your Twitter, pulled 5 tweets. I'd love for you to further elaborate on these. First one is, you shouldn't play video games unless you make $500K a year.
Yes. So the problem with video games is that, number one, how good they are nowadays, it's easy to get addicted. A lot of guys aren't productive. Keeps them fat, keeps them sedentary, keeps them lethargic. So until you have your shit together, I don't think guys have the privilege of playing video games. Like, make $500K a year and have $1 million net worth, or work really hard towards making $500K a year. Because I don't think you should even be bothering to play video games unless you got your shit together.
Yeah, they are so addicting these days.
Yeah,
huh?
dude, it's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. Now, are there guys out there that make money playing video games professionally? Sure. But the problem is that too many guys are addicted to video games, and it's very non-productive.
Female-only gyms always fail.
Yes. Female gyms always fail because women want attention. You know, they want to, as much as they go in there and say, oh, I don't want to be stared at, whatever, it's all a fucking lie. These bitches always want attention. That's why they're in here with their bright pink Gymshark pants or Athlete or, Lululemon. Women love attention in the gym, dude. It's ridiculous. I know, and everyone, like, I'm sure everybody knows this. All of you know this. There's girls that go to the gym. They don't even work out. They'll do like maybe one exercise, film it, and then leave. It's fucking ridiculous, bro. Because the thing with women is you don't have to work out to actually look good. Some girls just got good genetics. Some girls naturally look good. They just don't eat all day and get fat, and they just maintain their figure. They're fine. But for men, to build a good physique, you have to go to the gym. So with women, a lot of girls go to the gym for attention, dude. That's why female-only gyms almost always fail.
100%. If you said women will never be able to teach a man how to become attractive and arousing.
Never. And the reason why, because there's been this influx of like female dating coaches, like Sadia Khan, for example. She's been taking shots at me for like years. And the reality is women don't know what it takes to attract other women, right? You don't ask a fish how to fish, you ask the fucking fisherman. So with these women, the reason why they're completely unaware and aloof to this is because it's simple. When a man deals with a woman, or when we deal with anyone for that matter, we have to provide value, right? Me and you have a relationship. You have a podcast. I have a podcast. I'm able to come on your show, provide value, give you guys entertainment value, etc. There's an exchange, right? Yeah. Like, men understand from the time we're little boys that you don't get invited to the party or you don't get invited to the situation unless you're providing value. Men always must provide value. Women don't understand this because they don't always have to provide value. When women deal with men, a lot of times they provide almost no value outside of sex. That's why these girls act all, pompous and, I'm bougie and all this other shit, because men don't make them work for it 90% of the time. And the problem with like these female dating coaches is they don't deal with women as a man. They're women. So this whole exchange thing that I'm talking about, like providing value, women aren't used to this concept, especially when they deal with other women. Yeah. So this is why a female dating coach will never be able to tell you what to do, because they don't deal with women from the adversarial standpoint that men deal with them. Because it's a dance between the two genders where the man is trying to get sexual value from her while she's trying to get value from him, whether it's finances, time, resources. It's called my guy, Coach Greg Adams, he says meat, money, energy, attention, and time. They're trying to get that from you, right? Meanwhile, you're trying to get laid. But what ends up happening is most of the time women win. They get what they want from you. Hence, you're in the friend zone like a dumbass, but you're not getting what you want. So this is a very unique scenario that women aren't used to when they deal with other women. Yeah. Right? So this is why I always say, like, women don't know what the fuck they're talking about this. Now, what I will say is this. I've only seen women feel this pain in like 2 situations. or one situation, but you can maybe put the two together, or whatever. When a woman has a friend that's like a stripper, right? Where, you know, because girls that are strippers, and I've noticed this from them being on my show and being around them all the time, women that are strippers, especially the ones that make a lot of money, they're very good at finessing people. They're good. They're smooth talkers, and they know kind of how to, you know, they're very slimy.
Yeah.
Because their whole job is trying to extract money from you. So what ends up happening a lot of times is the very successful strippers is they can't turn that shit off. They're always trying to finesse. So even when they hang out with their girlfriends, oh, I don't got my wallet on me. Can you pay? Oh, can I get some gas money? Blah, blah, blah. And they try that shit even on other women. Right? Now, funny story for you. I talked about this on my pod the other day. So there's this girl I know. She has this friend that comes and visits her every now and then from up north. The friend is promiscuous as hell. She likes to come down to Miami, party, etc. So I'm talking to her one day, and she's telling me this story about how, you know, every time they go to dinner, she never has money. She has to pay for everything that they do. And, you know, she bails on her to go on boats with other guys and all this other shit. And I sat there and I was like, now you know what it's like to be a fucking guy. and like, she was like, holy shit, this is what men deal with. And I was like, yeah, you are literally dealing with what men deal with. You are putting money, time, energy, and resources into a female, and you're not getting anything back in return. It's annoying, isn't it? She's like, holy shit, this is how guys feel. I'm like, yeah, this is what most men deal with all the fucking time with women. And she was like, she couldn't believe it, dude. She was like, holy shit, if I was a guy, I wouldn't deal with women at all. This is terrible. And that was just happening to her one time. But the reason why she reacted that way to it is because women typically don't get finessed. And they also they're not used to the concept of putting money and time and energy into something and not getting anything back in return. We're used to that. Every single guy watching this shit right now, all of us have been friend zoned.
Yep.
All of us have hung out with a girl that used us. All of us have been out on dinner dates and didn't get a kiss. All of us have spent a ridiculous amount of time on the phone with a bitch that never liked us. All of us have been there. So we kind of understand that's the game. But women don't understand this because she was really upset, bro. She was pissed. And this is her friend. But that's when I had to kind of like just hit her with the, hey, welcome to being a fucking guy.
Yep. I used to get friend zoned all the time back when I was broke and insecure.
Yeah, dude.
I had to work on myself first.
So this dynamic that I'm talking about that me and you are very familiar with because we're men and we understand that when we deal with women, we have to bring value. Women are completely unaware of this. And not only are they unaware, they don't care. And I tell this to guys all the time. Women are unaware and they don't care.
Yeah. You just had Amouranth on the show, right?
Yes.
One of the top girls. How did that go? She's made allegedly over $70 million, I believe, on.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn. Over how many years?
She's been at it for like 4 years, I think, since COVID.
Goes to show how many simps we got, man.
Yeah.
Got a lot of simps.
70
dude.
mil. And those
That's
numbers,
crazy.
I believe, were confirmed. I think Rogan talked about it.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just guys being simps, man. Like the whole culture and, you know, with how ubiquitous it is, it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. Like these dudes are making these talentless girls become super rich, man. Because the reality is, right, if you took these women, right, my guy Saint the Sinner, I got to shout him out for this because it's so true. If you take these women and you take their brains and you put it in a male body, they'd all be poor.
Right.
Like, bro, literally, take these girls' brains, put it in a male body, these bitches would be in poverty, bro. Because they don't have any real tangible skill sets. They're not entertaining. They're not funny. They're not cool. They don't teach their audience anything. Dudes are just watching because they're simps. So that's what ends up happening a lot of times with this, you know, glorified world that we're in. So, yeah, dude, it's absolutely wild. Female streamers suck.
Yeah. You're not a fan of them.
They suck, dude. I make fun of this chick all the time, Cinna. She blocked me on Twitter because I guess I told the truth too much. But like she was complaining, saying like, oh, well, Kai has all this stuff going on in the background and I don't get as many views. And I'm like, bitch, nobody, because you're not interesting. Like female streamers don't have to be interesting. Like look at Pokimane. Has anyone learned or gained any value from watching her? No. Has anyone learned anything or gained value from watching Cinna? No. Right? Like men have to be significantly more entertaining, charming, charismatic, funny, creative to get half the attention. So there's a reason why most comedians, good ones, are men, right? Like women like funny guys. So guys a lot of times will learn to be funny and, you know, get a sense of humor to be more attractive.
Right.
Some guys get really good at it and make it a profession. But the reality is like like there's a burden of performance on men. So since the burden of performance on men where we have to be charming, we have to be charismatic, we have to have these traits to be able to get sexual access, which is why we're put on earth, we're willing to work far harder for it. Women don't. That's why they suck at everything.
Yeah. Have you seen the statistics on percentage of virgins for adult males?
What is it now?
Well, it depends on the source, but I've seen 20 to 40%.
I believe it.
Isn't that crazy?
It's changing every year, and it's going up. And male loneliness is, only getting worse and worse. And it's because there's a bunch of different reasons, but feminism, social media, dating apps, women having their own jobs through feminism and, chasing a career in education. Women nowadays in their 20s, I think, are starting to out-earn men in their 20s.
Wow.
So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's where we're going, dude. And it's only going to get worse because the problem with women, right, is that no matter how much money they have or how successful they become, they always want a man better than them. I wrote a whole book on this called Why Women Deserve Less, because they do deserve less. But Amazon bestseller, by the way. So, and it's less than 100 pages.
Wow.
Because women deserve less. So, and I released it on Valentine's Day too, which makes it even funnier.
Classic.
Last year. But anyway, but all jokes aside, in the book, I talk about how women want a guy that makes about 56% more money than they do. So what ends up happening is you get these super successful women, right? And, for a man, when you become successful, doors open. When you're a woman and you become successful, doors close for you, romantically at least. Right? You gain more money and status as a guy, more girls find you handsome. You gain more money and status as a woman, you find less men handsome. And most men don't economically compete. So this is why women that are like super successful a lot of the times struggle to find a counterpart. Because hypergamy always rears its ugly head. Women can't date below them. Now, are there some women out there that are in a situation where they make more than their guy or they might be the breadwinner? Of course. But those situations typically don't work. So, and there was something else. What was the question again?
Woman making money or?
No, the original one that you asked.
Amaranth.
Oh,
she made 70 million.
Yeah.
Oh, virgins? 20
yes, virgins. Yeah. So with the virgin thing, this has been a problem for a minute. And I would argue that there's way more male virgins than female virgins.
Easily.
Way more.
Yeah, easily.
Right? And then when I say this, like girls look at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, yeah, because women don't see like 90% of men are invisible to women. Most women don't like most men, but most men like most women. So it's very simple. And like when I say that to them, they're like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, yeah, like if 10 guys ask for your phone number at a club, are you giving your number to any of them? Maybe one, if that. And then are you going to respond to him when he texts you the next day to go for a coffee? Probably not. Like the flake rate is fucking ridiculous now.
Flake rate.
It's high, dude, because of social media and women having options, right? The bad behavior, the catty behavior, the bratty behavior that we have in the modern dating marketplace right now is due to the abundance of options that women have. And I'll give you an example, right? So let's pretend that you have two hot girlfriends that are always around, always available, always ready to smash or give you a if you want it. They clean your house and they do everything you need, right? You go to a nightclub or a bar and you meet this girl. Hey, what's your name? Blah, blah. And she kind of is receptive or whatever. And then you say, hey, you want to go out sometime? And she says, oh, no, you got to win me over. Would you sit there and actually waste your time talking to her?
No.
Probably not, right? Because you got two bitches at home.
Yeah.
Now that you, I want you to internalize that feeling. That's how women feel when they got their own job. So, in other words, a man that has two hot girls always ready to go is like a woman that has a job, because you're not going to take bullshit from the opposite gender, and you're going to demand the best. So women are the same way. I make my own money. Why the fuck am I going to deal with you?
Right.
Like I'm only going to go and deal with the best of guys. Just like if you're a man and you have two girlfriends, why the fuck are you going to sit here and comply with this stupid bitch? You got two girls. That's exactly how women look at their independence and work. But that actually ends up hurting them, because as they make more money and become more successful and their standards go up, doors close. So that's kind of the abundance mindset that women have. Women have an abundance mindset on steroids. Just like if you had two bad bitches. You would not tolerate bullshit from women if you had two girls at all times ready to go.
Yeah.
You would not. You would literally be running around like Stone Cold in the fucking 90s like, fuck you bitches. You know what I mean? Like you literally would not care. You would give zero fucks. That's exactly how women feel about men. They give zero fucks. That's why they flake so much.
Yeah, that's interesting advice. Because a lot of guys put their eggs in one basket, right? With one woman.
Super problematic. Never do that shit. And that's the other thing. Okay, going back to the whole women don't know what they're talking about when it comes to dating.
Yeah.
Remember that? Another dynamic that women don't understand is something called preselection. So when you have other women, what ends up happening is you just become more attractive, not because you have the woman necessarily, but your behaviors reflect that. You start to care less. You start to be more dismissive. You don't let her boss you around. You start to grow a spine when you have other women. And women can pick up on that immediately, right? So the other thing that why women should never give you dating advice is because I tell guys all the time, you need to have multiple chicks that you're dealing with. Not necessarily because you want to deal with them, but because it keeps you having an abundance mindset so you don't come off needy. Because needy behaviors, a lot of the times, you don't even notice it. Like, it's very subtle, right? But when you don't give a fuck, it's a very natural and relaxed feeling that women can pick up on. Women are very hypersensitive to body language and to mannerisms and to tonality and how you speak. So when you're a guy that has bitches, women know it immediately by how little you care. That actually makes you way more attractive. And women cannot teach you that. That's why I always say female dating coaches are retards, because they don't understand things like that, like preselection. They'll sit there and tell you, just be nice to her, be monogamous. You know what I mean? But in reality, being monogamous actually makes you less attractive to a bunch of women. Now, am I sitting here saying go fuck a bunch of girls? No. But your girl needs to know that you can do it and you reserve the right to do it if she acts up.
Yeah.
Women only behave when they know they can be replaced. They're terrible people when they have leverage. Absolutely terrible people. Because they don't know how to appreciate it. Because they get all this attention and validation all day from fucking simps. So they don't respect the majority of men. So you have to make that bitch respect you. And the only way you make her respect you isn't through violence. It's through being able to walk away. It's the only way that you're going to get women to respect you. So I tell guys all the time, look, you want to be monogamous? Fine. But don't be a fucking bitch and let her think that she's the only option. Because that's when the disrespect comes. That's when she thinks that she could talk to you crazy. And that's when she thinks she has the leverage. And when women have leverage, they're terrible fucking people. And let me tell you also why. Because I can back this up. Statistically speaking, women are far more likely to end relationships. 80% of divorces are initiated by women. And also women are far more likely to have their interest in you decline quickly. Women get bored faster, and they're also more likely to end relationships. Well, what does that mean? Clearly, this person needs more stimuli to stay engaged in a relationship. Would that be fair?
Yeah.
Okay. So since women need the stimuli to stay in a relationship and they're more prone to breaking up with you and being bored, you got to give that bitch the excitement that she needs, which is what? Other women potentially taking you from her. They need that emotional stimuli. Men, we're not retarded. We don't need that. Oh, okay, you're behaving, you're being good. I don't need drama. Like we're content with whatever goes down with us. Like, men will stay with a girl even if she pisses off, because men understand it's not easy to get women. We have to work to get women. So since we have to work to get women, we treasure that. Women don't work to get us. So we have to make that bitch work. And once men understand this concept and understand that you and her are not equal and she needs to be chasing your validation, that's the only way you're going to maintain the upper hand in a relationship. And no matter what anyone says, a relationship is an adversarial, symbiotic relationship. And the reason why is because both parties are trying to get something from the other while minimizing their involvement. The problem is that most guys end up investing way too much. She doesn't invest enough and she gets bored. It needs to be where she's doing most of the investing and then you can get bored. But here's the difference. When men get bored, we don't leave relationships. We might go fuck another bitch, but we're going to always come back home.
Right.
Right? Women say men are dogs. Well, dogs are loyal, bitch. Cats aren't. And that's what women are, cats. Right? No fucking utility. No value. You know what I mean? Like, what are they doing? Just kitty litter and
Yeah.
Like, dogs are loyal and actually provide value. So the dog always comes home. So that's what I think men need to understand, that dynamic where you need to have the leverage. She needs to be chasing you and not the other way around, because it's easier for her to get bored. Women need emotional stimuli in a relationship. And creating a little anxiety where she doesn't know where you are, or you can have other women or other women want you, it's the highest marker of attraction that women want. Social proof and preselection by far. This is how ugly rappers get chicks. They have other women, right? Like, like when you're at the nightclub, where do all the girls go? They go in the section that's most popping with the most girls. So even women understand inherently that other women being there means that that guy is doing something right.
That's so true. Because whenever you get a girlfriend, more girls are just attracted to you instantly.
Exactly. And that's what female dating coaches don't understand. And the other reason too why they're retarded is because female dating coaches don't understand arousal versus attraction. Arousal is you being able to put her in her fucking place and tell her she's stupid. Attraction is being a good boyfriend and being a provider. Not the same at all. Because there's plenty of guys that are attractive, right? They make money. They might be a nice guy, great, provider type skill sets.
Yeah.
But being arousing, that's a skill that you got to learn through trial and tribulation. And most importantly, it's unflattering. So a female dating coach isn't going to tell you, yeah, bro, you just got to like ignore her calls for a bit. Or you got to tell her to shut the fuck up. She's being stupid. Or you got to like dominate her. Like they're not going to be able to teach you this stuff because going back to the first part of our conversation, they don't deal with women as a man. They deal with women as a woman, right? So they don't understand the whole concept that I explained to you where men, we grow up as little boys knowing that we have to provide value. We don't get invited to the party unless we bring some kind of value. We don't get picked for the team unless we're good. Remember? You play pickup basketball or something.
Yeah.
And they're picking teams, right? Flag football, whatever. That's a very masculine thing. Why? Because we're creating teams and the best guy gets picked first.
Yep.
Right? Women never deal with that. What do? Their dumbasses are playing hopscotch and patty cake, right? And skipping around and shit. Jump rope. Notice how all the games they play, there's no decisive winner. Everything we play, there's a decisive winner.
Wow.
Because men understand that we must compete and we understand that we have to provide value. Women don't understand this concept. They really don't. Women don't understand meritocracy. I'll give you another example. Multimillionaire walks in a room. Everyone there is trying to learn from him, right? Men understand pecking orders almost immediately. This guy's famous, this guy is rich, whatever it may be, I got to listen to what he's going to say. That's why Andrew Tate blew up. Rich, wealthy, in shape, former fighter, has all the markers of a successful guy, or what people would call an alpha male.
Right.
I hate that term,
Yeah.
but I'm using it for the purposes of a placeholder. Women don't understand this. You get a girl, right, and let's say she's rich, but she's fat. Bitches don't give a fuck. Bitch, you're ugly. Who cares, right? They don't look at things from a meritocracy standpoint. Women don't understand hierarchy like we do. They just don't, because we are born to compete. They don't, right? So if girls are in a room, right, let's say there's 10 girls in a room. They meet each other at a party, right? Girl walks in, wildly successful, has a nail business, but she's fat and ugly, and she's 40. But there's another girl there that's 21, broke, but she's hot. Who's going to get the respect? The hot girl. Not the fucking fat chick. Nobody cares.
I agree.
So, like, because like female competence, no one gives a shit about female competence. No one cares about female success, female competence, a woman's ability to earn money. Because when women make money, they don't share with us anyway. So who gives a fuck? Nobody cares. So that's very important note to have where, and I know I'm going very, very deep in the weeds here, but this is really important for men to understand. This is why female dating coaches can't help you because they don't understand these things. Because being a woman, growing up as a woman, you live life on easy mode.
Yeah.
And you don't understand this concept that me and you inherently understand as men, where you need to provide value. Women don't have to deal with that. And not only do they not have to deal with it, they've never dealt with it from the perspective of being a man dealing with a woman where you have to provide value. That's why they can't advise you.
Makes sense. 2 more tweets. I know we got sidetracked there.
Yeah. But bro, I'm here. Dude, you already know, man.
No,
You're
that
the
was
homie,
hilarious.
so.
I love that stuff. If you were a president, you would make fat people showing skin a crime.
Yeah, if I was president, actually fear, I like that term better. If I was fear, I would make sure that they would all go to concentration camps where they're going to get in shape and concentrate on health and diet and exercise. Yeah, because here's the thing with obesity, all jokes aside. Well, no, I'm kind of serious about that. But obesity, dude, it leads to heart disease, which is like one of the top killers of Americans. We have a huge problem in this country, which RFK was addressing with obesity and people just not being healthy in our food system. So, and it's something also that pisses me off. We don't bully fat people anymore. We need to get back to bullying them, right? We need to call them fatsos again. We need to call them lard ass. Like, I haven't heard these terms in years.
Yeah.
Like, we have this whole body positivity thing. And what it does is it just reinforces mediocrity, right? Because if you're fat, that says a lot about your personality. You obviously don't have discipline. You're not responsible, and you're lazy. Unacceptable. These are not traits of a thriving society. So, yeah, man, fat people definitely should be in jail. It's offensive. They should be on the offender list because they're offending me.
Didn't you do a fat person debate on Jubilee?
I did. It went super viral. They got pissed off. They got mad about the concentration camp thing. You know what makes it even funnier?
What?
We filmed that on April 20th.
April 20. Oh, 420?
Yep.
So they showed up stoned?
No, it was a certain person's birthday.
Oh. Oh, man. Last tweet. Losers deserve to be depressed.
Yes. You're good, man. I think I tweeted that today or something.
Yeah.
So depression, right, I think is a healthy response a lot of times to your inadequacies as a man. Like, men are put on earth to create and add value. So if you're a guy and you're eating Cheetos all day and you're fat and you're playing video games, that's another reason why I don't want guys playing video games, because you don't get a sense of accomplishment. You're over here leveling up in a fucking video game. Meanwhile, you're a level 0 in real life. Unacceptable, right? If you're not leveling up, like, a natural response to that a lot of times is you start to get sad because you're like, damn, I'm watching playing video games all day. I'm fat. No one respects me. Girls don't want to be around me. Damn, I'm sad and depressed. Good. Get your fat ass up and go fucking do something. Right? It's a very healthy response to you being a lazy piece of shit. Now, are there some situations there where the depression is clinical and they can't help it? Sure. But the majority of these depression cases, it's just, guys, you're lazy, you're a dork, and you haven't been working hard, and that's your body that's your body giving a valid response to your inadequacy.
Yeah, people throw around that depression term.
Yeah, dude. It's like, okay, controversial take. How do I phrase it? I'm going to say it away so that I don't fuck you up. Okay, so, I'll give you an example. So, I was doing a show the other day on Access Vegas a couple days ago when I was here. This girl says, oh, I have like ADHD or ADD or some other bullshit like that. One of these stupid ass acronyms. And I'm like, oh, so you're a fucking retard. You're like, I'm not retarded. I'm like, yeah, you are. Like, clearly you have like some kind of mental deficiency, so you're a fucking retard in my eyes. And the thing is that, right, and I say that kind of tongue in cheek to come to my conclusion here, which is simply this. We've been able to find a way to diagnose stupidity, ADD, ADHD, all this other bullshit, all these stupid acronyms. We just need to go back to telling people they're fucking stupid, right? Oh, I can't focus. All right, well, there's winners and losers, motherfucker. You're a retard, like, or you're stupid. Like, we need to go back to telling people that they're dumb. And, you know, I made it through college, right? Never took Ritalin, never took any of that shit, right? Like, if you need to take a drug to focus, what the fuck is wrong with you? Get some goddamn discipline. Oh, you needed to focus. It's like, dude, we're over-medicated, we're obese, over-medicated, overweight. No wonder we're fucking depressed and sad and have all these fucking problems, right? Like, people don't want to face reality. So, you know, I think we've made a lot of things up to kind of cover for the fact that people are stupid because we don't want to be offensive.
Yeah.
Right? We want to go ahead and make everyone feel accepted. We want to be all-inclusive. We want to be nice, right? DEI type bullshit. And it's like, no, dude, like, we just got to go back to telling people they're fucking stupid. Bullying is good. And actually, it's a very healthy way, actually, to remove inadequacy from society. Because when I think about it, me going to the gym, me improving on my vernacular, trying to become a better man, it all came from someone telling me that I was a fucking loser. Right? Survival of the fittest. Adapt or die. If you're getting bullied, you're like, oh, how I feel about this. Well, maybe you deserve to be a fucking loser.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you deserve to be sad. Maybe you deserve to be depressed. Right? Happiness is not, how do I say this? Happiness is not a right. It's a privilege that's earned. It's a bill that's due every single day. And we live in this crazy society where we tell everyone you should always be happy. You know, you're entitled to happiness. No, you're not. You have to work for it. It's literally a bill. It's a bill that's due every single day. Happiness.
I agree. I got bullied and it definitely worked for me.
Yeah.
You know,
bullying is good, man. I think we need to bring it back.
Yeah. I got picked last on sports teams. It made me want to get in better shape. I got bullied for my appearance. I was super skinny, made me get in the gym. I got bullied for not doing well in school, you know, made me step up. There's
no better stimuli than proving people wrong. Yeah. It's one of the best reinforcements of, like, you know, getting something done and doing things you don't want to do is to prove someone wrong. It's great motivation. So I think we need to bring bullying back. And I think the reason why we have so much depression and anxiety and all these issues is because we make up diseases for idiots. I guarantee you these ADD, ADHD motherfuckers, if I told them, you're just a fucking retard. Stop being a fucking retard. And we told them this from a young age, like, fucking work hard, fucking focus, they'd find a way. They don't need no medication. Yeah. It's bullshit. It's all a scam. It's all a scam by the pharmaceutical companies to keep you sick so they can keep selling you pharmaceuticals, it's all a scam by the pharmaceutical companies to sell you drugs to make themselves rich. Like, America is one of the few countries where we run commercials for drugs.
There's Europe, only two.
Yeah. Europe, a lot of these countries, they don't run drugs for their commercials. Yeah. Or, excuse me, they don't run commercials for their drugs.
Yeah, I knew what you meant.
You know what I mean? Like, we're the only ones that do this shit. Why? Because we live in a very predatory capitalistic society. And I love capitalism, right? I really do. But, you know, we absolutely peddle around drugs and market it, and doctors are incentivized to prescribe you drugs. I'm super I've never smoked weed. I've never done a drug in my life. I don't drink. I've been sober pretty much my whole life. And dude, I got the most work done doing that. It helped me out so much with staying in shape, having a clear mind, getting shit done. So Dude, fuck drugs.
Yeah, I love that. What are you doing next? Any debates planned? Where can people find you?
People can find me on Myron Gaines X on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter. Maybe I'll get my Instagram back. We'll see. Myron Gaines X everywhere. And then also I'm going to be, I do my talk show, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. Political commentary and cultural commentary. You know, I try to talk about everything, man. You try to be diverse in every single realm. And yeah, man, been covering a lot more politics and stuff like that. Going down the rabbit hole that is what we discussed earlier with that certain state in the Middle East. And yeah, man. So I think I'm going to go debate some college kids in April.
Okay.
That'll be funny. So
I've never seen you do that.
Yo, feel free to come out if you want, bro. It's going to be in Pennsylvania.
Which college? Penn State?
Penn State. I think it's going to be.
That's going to be liberal, yeah. That'll be a good one for you.
I think it's going to be.
I think Charlie Kirk got kicked out of that one.
Did he get kicked out?
I think they muted his mics, if I recall, yeah.
Shit, man.
Yeah, be careful out there.
I'm going to be worse.
All right, man. Stay tuned for that. Thanks for coming on. See you guys.